Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Interview answer. In this video, we'll cover some of the best answers that you can give to this very usual and commonplace question so that you can actually get the job and not be thrown in the pile of trash. Alright, before we start, remember to smash that like button below since this video is free and it helps with the algorithm. Alright, so what are some of the tips when it comes to actually answering this interview question? Well, the first things that we're going to talk about is what not to do. So first, in the list of things not to do when this question is asked is to say something along the lines of, oh, I'll have your job. Like, I mean, it should be obvious, but that's not only a bit threatening and unprofessional, but it's like, what are you accomplishing with that? You're only making it seem like either you are overly ambitious or you are someone who is trying to be funny in ways that are not professional. If that's the way you're acting with them, is that how you're going to act in the team? Is that how you're going to act with their potential clients? That doesn't leave a good impression at all. Also, trying to be funny in other ways as well is probably not recommended in that sense. Some of the other things you don't want to do for sure is say or make it look like you are someone who's using them or this role as a stepping stone to get elsewhere, to jump to a different job at a different point, or you're someone who's like, hey, in 5 years I'm going to be a manager or a director or this or that. Anything with specific titles is not a good idea because you're basically letting them know that you have expectations that are impossible, or you're going to be someone that's going to be very hard to please, or you're someone who's thinking of leaving their company or just using them as a way to step up their game in the resume or something along those lines. No one wants that, especially if it's a job that's looking for a more long-term candidate. In that sense, just to give you an example, I've had many interviews throughout my days, and in one case, I remember when I was much younger, just out of college, I didn't know better. In one interview, I remember saying something along the lines of, hey, yeah, like I am looking to work here. Yes, I want to go and study abroad as well and then come back and have a career here, that kind of thing. But the hiring manager, look at this. The hiring manager was someone who was, I don't know, maybe 5 years older than me at the time. He was in his late 20s. And he said something along the lines of, oh, I completely recommend that to you. I did that myself. I had a great time. I'm here now doing this well. But at the same time, I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to work for you, building a career here. So in essence, what he was saying was that, hey, we're looking for someone who's just going to be here forever, right? Like, in that way, I don't want to use the term slave, but in that case, that's how it felt to me because it was a little bit strange that he himself had done it. He recommended me to do it. He had a great experience. I had a great experience, and I was thinking of working at that company for long term, even after coming back. But he used that to disqualify me because they were looking for someone who would just stay there and not even have the opportunity to go and study abroad. So here's the kicker. Two things. First, know very well who you're working for, because after going through that experience, I know that I don't want to work for someone like that. So you're saying that you know that that's something that's good, something that helped you become a manager at that company, and you don't want to hire someone like you. You want to hire someone who's just going to be below you and just stay there and do what's 100% best for the company, even though you yourself didn't do it. That's not the type of company I wanted to work for, and I didn't work there. But another thing to learn from that experience is that some employers, especially if you're just looking for a job for a few years or something like that, right? Not necessarily the best place to work on the long term. Some employers will disqualify you if you tell them anything along those lines in a more honest fashion, right? So be very careful with that. Don't do or say anything that's going to signal to them that you are going to move elsewhere. We'll get to this back a little bit later, so stay tuned, because being honest is actually something that can potentially work in your favor when it comes to getting those interviews and when it comes to getting those jobs, right? So what are some of the other things? I think we've covered some of the biggest ones. So how will we actually go about answering this question in a correct way? Well, there are two major ways, but the main way I like to call corporate speak, which is basically just talking in a way that's like, you're saying something that's polite, cordial, PC, something that's what they expect you to say, but at the same time, they may know that you don't really like 100% mean what you're saying because you're just doing what everyone else should say for such a question, right? And that answer will be something along the lines of, oh, 5 years from now, I see myself contributing on a greater way to the growth of this company and this department by doing XYZ, right? Or I see myself growing in my capabilities and my expertise when it comes to this area of the company, right? When it comes to the finance department and my ability to potentially become more of a liaison with other departments and more of a key decision maker within the structure, and being someone who can potentially start transitioning into more of a leadership role by the time I am ready for it. Or something like that, something that's not threatening, something that's letting them know that, hey, yeah, I'm thinking of staying here more long term. These are my aspirations. And it's very corporate, very like normal, right? But at the same time, that's okay, but it's not gonna like knock their socks off, right? So at the end of the day, that's an answer that's great if you just want to keep it like that. But an answer that can potentially be more dangerous is not as safe, but it can potentially get you the job if they're looking for someone who's a little bit more real, so to speak. I wouldn't recommend this in every case. I will just keep it for the times in which it's a very specific company that you know you can do this in. So to give you an example, when I say honesty, I say sharing some of your actual real plans or some of your reality with them in a way that will actually enhance their ability to relate to you and say like, whoa, yeah, this candidate seems like the kind of person I like to have working for me. Because think about it this way. If you just go in and you just say the corporate speak, natural thing, and you've practiced it and you come out very fluidly, they're just gonna feel like you're just either you're BSing them or you're just over prepared. They don't really quite like, they can't disqualify you on that at all. That was a good answer, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not relating. I don't feel like it's genuine. I don't feel like it's super authentic unless you really mean it. And that's the difference. So on that last one, to give you an example, I was hired for a job, a very successful job actually, in which when they asked me that question, where you see yourself 5 years from now, I was very honest. I'd say, hey, I am actually thinking that I would like to actually have a business. And this was an interview for a job. And I was talking about, I'd like to have a business that exports goods or something along those lines. It's funny because I actually had 2 interviewers. One of them laughed. He was like, oh my God. Like, and I knew that he was kind of like, whoa, what's up? Like, this guy should be saying that he wants to work here forever. Like, why is he saying that? But the way I said it was very authentic, very natural. And the other guy, the one who was senior, he was very neutral. He was very understanding. And then he kept asking questions and that kind of thing. And then at the end of the day, I ended up being positioned at a division of the company that actually had to do with exporting goods. So that was a really good case. Now, why did that work there and not in other places? There are many different reasons, but you need to know when or with whom you're talking in a way that can be convincing, in a way that you can be yourself, tell them something truthful that will at the same time enhance how things are going. Now, I wouldn't say do this in every case. I will say only do it if you're a very confident person, especially if you are a mid-career professional or maybe even further along because you have more experiences, you know who you are, you know what you're looking for, and you're considerably more likely to come across as confident and as someone who knows what they're looking and has someone who's adding a lot of value, right? As someone who is going to be respected in their convictions. Versus someone who doesn't know what they're doing, is gonna flop, like saying some stuff that doesn't have anything to do. So in essence, my recommendation will be, if you are younger or you're not as confident in your skill sets or your ability to interview, go with the more corporate answer, the more expected answer, which is, 5 years from now, I expect myself to be growing into a role in this company and being able to have a major contribution or a bigger contribution into whatever it is that that company is doing, right? Whatever it is that that role you're interviewing for is supposed to be doing. So that is the best answer for this. I hope this was useful. If you have any other questions, make sure to comment below and let me know. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. Bye-bye.